So what I'd like to do is introduce Ali from Two Circles to come and talk a little bit about telephone and broadband. And here's some of the organisations that we deal with through Two Circles. Evangelical Movement of Wales, that was a recent one we did earlier this year. Teen Ranch from Scotland, Rock UK, who are here as well in the room. Peterborough Diocese, we do all the mobile phones for the teachers within the diocese. And Stanton House, a small retreat centre down in Oxford. So Ali, shall I invite you to come up and have a conversation? You just press the buttons.
Sure.
Okay. So we've got 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you. And yes, we do look forward hopefully to seeing you at our stand. It's not quite as exciting as going to a big food stand. We get cakes and all kinds of goodies, but we don't have mobile phones to dish out and what have you, but do come and have a chat with us. Our company history, we were founded in 1999. We've got 8,000 business customers across the UK. I've been with the company since 2010. We've worked with the Christian supply chain for 4 years now. I think the first customer came on board with us through the Christian supply chain in January 2015. I've got a particular interest in working with the company because I, in 2010, got into the job to be in a kind of sales and business role, but to help charities to reduce their costs. It was kind of my main kind of focus at that time, was how we could go in to speak to an organisation, reduce their cost, and hopefully feel good about, you know, the impact that we're having. A bit like Steve was saying about the mission statement of the Christian supply chain. I grew up in Kinross in Scotland, near Perth and Fermanagh, and went to Teen Ranch as a kid, which was actually one of the members that we ended up helping. I went to Kinross Parish Church when I was a kid, and then was really interested to hear about the work that Steve and the group do a few years ago, and it's been really good to work with the members since. So most of our staff are based, we've got 80 staff in the company, mainly based down the road in St Albans. I work out at the satellite office up in Edinburgh. Ollie, who's with me here today at our stand, works at the head office just down the road. So we can come out and meet you face to face, we can speak to you over the phone, by email, whatever suits you. There's kind of, you can't really see necessarily here, but it says voice, mobile, connectivity, hosted services, M2M and IT solutions. So what on earth all that means? Basically, we provide telephony and internet connectivity solutions that allow you to connect with the people that you need to connect to, whether it be prospective guests to your retreat centres or your suppliers or whoever else it is that you need to connect with by voice or over the internet. And the way we go about doing that is we have relationships with all the major networks in the UK. If you go to BT, you'll get a BT product. If you go to Virgin, you'll get a Virgin product. We have wholesale agreements with all the major suppliers in the UK. So if you come to us and say, my site is in the middle of Wales, well, it might be that, you know, a BT service is best for you, and you're in the middle of Shropshire, well, maybe a Virgin service is best for you. If you're an organisation that has multiple sites across the UK, it may be that different sites benefit from a different broadband supplier. It may be that you could benefit from having mobiles with O2, Vodafone and EE. So we'll put together a solution for you, and you end up with one bill and one point of contact with us. You're not dealing with, you know, 3 mobile networks, 4 broadband suppliers, etc., etc. So we'll help consolidate the services as much as we can. We really deal with anybody from like 1 to 100 sites, 1 to 1,000 mobiles. When it gets way above that, the networks deal with the business directly, but the networks like us dealing with kind of small and medium-sized businesses and charities, because they want you to be on their network, but they would ideally not do all the work in terms of sales, ordering, managing the accounts, providing the customer support, all the billing. So if we can kind of have you on their network, but we do all the work, it's actually a really good result for a lot of these companies, which is why we get really good deals that we can pass on. One of the key differences dealing with the major networks, you've probably found in the past, can be time consuming and quite stressful. 20 minutes on hold before you get through to somebody when you've got a broadband fault isn't probably the kind of thing you're looking for. So we can't necessarily work miracles. We're still dealing with OpenReach and some people at the end of the day that obviously we're reliant on how quickly they respond. But what we can do is answer your calls quickly. Over 90% of calls into our support centre are answered within 4 rings. So we can answer your call quickly, get you through to your named account manager if they're available, if not somebody else in the team can deal with you. We can follow up with the networks and hopefully get a really good quick resolution, because over the last 18 years we've built up really good relationships with these companies and others that aren't on here. If something does turn out to be more complicated, at least we'll stick with it. We've had challenges with OpenReach and version that have gone on for over a year, but we still are going at it until we can get it resolved for you. So that's the kind of background. In terms of, again, that's bringing all the services under one bill. You can't necessarily see the detail here, but basically on our invoices, you might want to have 100 pages of every phone call from the last month, but chances are you don't have time to look through all of that. So what our invoices can do is, for example, here, give you the 30 most expensive calls from the last month. So at a glance here, this charity can see, oh, well, we made a call to 118 on the 16th of December that cost £7.92. Well, do we need to make that call? Surely we can just go online, look up the company's phone number instead of calling 118. I think in this case from the mobile, which was even more expensive than calling it from the landline. So immediately you can see that everything else looks okay, but that one, okay, we send an email out to staff, please don't call 118 from your mobiles. Simple way to be on top of your costs. We do go one step further and send out proactive email alerts. So here you can set criteria. Calls costing more than £2 is probably the most common one that we'll set up. You can have to certain destinations, etc. But the most common one is just if a call costs more than £2, £5, you're emailed within a day to let you know. Our job really is to make you as happy as this little chap when it comes to saving time on admin, managing your billing, customer support, all that side of things. The average savings for an organisation with us is 37% on a like-for-like basis, so we can really help, even just if it's a simple billing switch of your existing BT lines or what have you. The third way we can help is with taking advantage of new technologies. So the biggest thing with CCI members and Christian Supply Chain members tends to be internet connectivity, especially challenges if you're in a rural location, but regardless of where you are, more and more people are finding that in retreat centres, years ago people came and didn't really want to be online. It was a retreat and everybody was switching off. And nowadays it's a lot more about actually people do want to be online, and it might be for the purposes of the retreat to have calls or watching videos or whatever it is that helps them actually, enjoy their time at your centre. So we're aware of some of the challenges that you can have rurally, and so we'll look to work, to find solutions that suit you. You don't have to settle for slow broadband. Sometimes the fear is that it's going to be extraordinarily expensive. Good connectivity has come down year on year in terms of price. As good, for example, fibre connectivity is spread across more of the UK, the price to get it to your premises becomes lower. So yeah, the scenario on the right hand side here in the internet connectivity world would be 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the kids next door will come home from school and start gaming, and your internet connection grinds to a halt, as opposed to the chap here on the left who's just sailing along. If you can afford your own dedicated internet connection, it obviously makes your staff more productive and helps your guests have a good experience. And the good news at the moment is that there's government funding. It's the Department of Digital, Culture, Media and Sport. It's called the Gigabit Broadband Voucher Scheme. It ran in 2015 for about 18 months, and then was relaunched in 2018. And the gist is you can get up to £2,500 that we can access for you through an internet connectivity order. And the point of it is that the government wants Britain's businesses to be working with fast internet connectivity because it's good for the economy. So they can give you up to £2,500 for a dedicated fibre internet connection to your premises. So our goal would basically be, if you're interested, we go to the Virgin, BT, Top business, we get a quote based on your premises, and then we knock off basically £2,500 from the contract cost to make it a little bit more manageable for you. So it's a fantastic opportunity. It was £3,000 in March when it was released. In November it was dropped down to £2,500, I believe, so the government can try and make the money go further. It's first come, first served. I doubt it's going to disappear in the next month, but probably sometime this year the funding will all be used up. So that's a really good opportunity at the moment in terms of getting better connectivity. If your internet connectivity isn't that important to you, that's fine. You can put in a very cheap, basic broadband line. But these are the two key questions I generally ask people when determining what they need. What would be the positive effect of fast internet connectivity, and also what's the negative effect if you're offline? And based on those kind of answers, we can piece together a solution that suits you. We can also try, and even if you end up spending more money on your internet connectivity, our goal is to try and make it cost neutral or still to save you money, whether that's by saving you money on your BT lines or your mobiles, or whether it's because you've got good connectivity that you can save money elsewhere. For example, cloud IT services can save you money. So you might spend more on broadband, but as a result of having good broadband, you save money on good cloud IT services. Or video conferencing, talking about the sustainable, kind of ethical or environmental side, that was the kind of first thing that came to mind, was actually in terms of people we deal with, if you've got good connectivity, you can avoid travel costs and pollution based on actually being able to do video conferencing, things like that. That was maybe a possible scenario. So in summary, faster, more reliable internet connectivity, hopefully using the broadband voucher scheme, improved telephony, using all the major networks, but all services on one bill and under one point of contact, and an average saving of 37%. This was Andy Whitting-Jones, who spoke at the CCI conference 2 years ago at King's Park, is now the Archdeacon of Rochester, but at the time was just, I think, finishing up with St Benedict's, and he had mentioned this about the service we provided. St Benedict's Centre, a new non-residential conference centre in Kent and home to St Augustine's College of Theology, have used 2 Circles to provide a lease line and ISDN backup, which is basically an internet line and phone services, and to configure an IT network over 3 buildings with Wi-Fi and VoIP telephones. We've been very impressed by the service received by all the different people at 2 Circles, from sales to technicians to accounts. Everyone makes the customer feel that they are important, whether on the phone or face-to-face. We would recommend 2 Circles. That's basically our goal, that after a few years, members are coming back and giving us and the Christian supply chain that kind of feedback. So, how are we doing for time?
That's it.
It's pretty much, yeah. Thank you for listening, and do stop by our stand if you've got time today.